Hello, Watchman of Ephraim. Second video I'm doing today. The tabernacle proves the Trinity is false. There's only one God. And also, let's just throw in, Jesus was not the God of the Old Testament. So what is laid out before you, this big rectangle, overhead view of the tabernacle. And what does the tabernacle represent? Well, number one, it represents the shadow and copy, as I'll get into, of the heavenly things, of the throne of God in heaven. And the heavenly things. God told Moses, be very careful that you make everything according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. God actually showed him these plans. The Holy of Holies, the most holy place. Notice it's a square, 20 by 20 cubits. It translates out to 30 by 30 feet. 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 30 feet high. This actually represents, this area right here represents the New Jerusalem. This whole thing represents the human body. The holy place and the most holy place, the inner man. God is very efficient in what he does. Man is the temple of the living God. Do you not know that you are the temple of the living God? First Corinthians 3:16. First Corinthians 3:16. I think I said that. I hope I didn't say 2 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. So among others, also in I believe 1 Corinthians 6:16. Could be off. Don't quote me on that one. Anyways, the most holy place is a square. What does that represent? Notice the square coming down from heaven. That's the New Jerusalem. That's the throne of God. That's the throne of God coming down out of heaven. Behold, the tabernacle of God. Notice that. The tabernacle of God is with men. And he will dwell among them. They shall be his people, and God himself will be their God. They shall see his face. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Okay. I'm just going to go to a few verses here. So this is, and the city's pure gold. What was the inside of the Holy of Holies, the holiest of all? It was overlaid with pure gold. The thing that has been is what will be. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24. For Christ has not entered the holy place, or Messiah has not entered the holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true, but into heaven itself. Notice that. Talking about really Aaron here when he entered into the Holy of Holies, the holiest of all, on the earth on the Day of Atonement. So here's the reality of Leviticus 16. For Christ does not enter the holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true, but into heaven itself, now to appear before who? Now to appear in the presence of God for us. Notice he's to appear to appear in the presence of God. It didn't say Christ, who is God, or God the Son, has entered into the holy places made with hands to appear in the presence of God for us. He's appearing before the only God. Notice, let's just go right over to chapter 9. Excuse me, let's go back to chapter 8. Forgive me. Now, this is the main point of the things we are saying. We have such a high priest who is seated at the, notice, at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens. So he appeared in the heavens before the only God, and he's seated at his right hand. Stephen will pick up on this. Or Stephen will witness this. The book of Hebrews the epistle to the Hebrews came later after Stephen's death. A minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord erected and not man. You can even see this in the last chapter of Exodus 40. 39 into 40. Moses is erecting the tabernacle himself. Everything fits like a glove. Now notice, for if he were on earth, he would not be a priest, since there are priests who offer the gifts according to the law, who serve the copy and shadow of the heavenly things, as Moses was divinely instructed when he was about to make the tabernacle. So Moses was about to he was the one who erected it in the end. He set it up. You see how he's compared to God, whom the Lord erected and not man, which the Lord erected and not man. Now we bring in priests. There are priests who offer gifts according to the law, who serve the copy and shadow of the heavenly things. So this tabernacle was a shadow of the heavenly throne, or the abode of God, which is going to come down from heaven. And let me go back here. This will disappear. The holy place and the courtyard. Well, the outer court is the court of humanity, of those that are in the flesh. You're going to have this most holy place, this New Jerusalem, and then you're going to have the outside the city, the nations that are saved. Eventually, everyone. Of course, the altar of burnt offering, the laver, the lake of fire, which will go outside the gates of the city, or the camp. Okay. The New Jerusalem and the nations at the very end. You're only going to have this left here. Okay, this square. Okay. Okay. Let me go on here. All right. So here's the copy and shadow of the true. Here we have the holy place. And inside here we have the holiest of all, this square right here behind the veil. You can see it's overlaid with gold. Okay, you have the mercy seat, which is the throne of God. And you have this Shekinah glory here. So after Moses set it up, you had the Shekinah glory of God that appeared above the mercy seat. Okay. How many gods do you see here? One. Okay, one God. This is the shadow and copy of the heavenly things. How many gods do you see? Do you see God the Son? Do you see the Holy Spirit anywhere? You don't. You see one God appearing in this Shekinah glory, in this spirit presence above the mercy seat. He tells us we are going to see his face one day. So this is only a shadow also too. Well, it's just his Shekinah presence on the earth. That has a kind of a female it's just another, I'm not totally versed. I'm not totally competent on concerning this Shekinah glory as far as the female what word am I looking for? I'm a little slow right now. Yeah, let's just skip it for now. I'm sorry. It'll come to me. I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, Leviticus 16, real quick. You see only one God, one presence, though. That's what I don't mean to get off on something totally. Leviticus. Real quick. Aaron the shadow of the coming Messiah, the Son of God. Melchizedek. Now, Yahweh spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron when they offered profane fire before Yahweh and died. And Yahweh said to Moses, "Tell Aaron your brother, who was the high priest, the shadow of Melchizedek, not to come at just any time into the holy place inside the veil, before the mercy seat which is on the ark, lest he die. For I will appear in the cloud above the mercy seat." So to start it off, you only had one God. Excuse me, to start it off, there's only one God. But on the day of the wave sheaf offering, I forgot to write it in my notes here, but on the day of the wave sheaf offering, the morrow after the Sabbath, during the days of unleavened bread, Messiah ascended to heaven and was accepted on our behalf. He appeared behind the veil. I mean, the veil was taken away. But he appeared before the mercy seat, before the only God, which I witnessed to you in Hebrews 9:24, into heaven itself, not in the shadows and copies, but into heaven itself, to appear before God for us. Do you see how this all fits? Hebrews. What happened? On the 8th day, the morrow after the Sabbath, the wave sheaf offering. Hebrews 5. Notice, and no man takes this honor to himself, but he who was called by God, just as Aaron was. Only the priesthood is being called right now, but here's the first of the first fruits. There's going to be another being appearing in this holy place, the Holy of Holies, or what's going to become the New Jerusalem, down out of heaven. So also Messiah did not glorify himself to become high priest, but it was he who said to him, "You are my son, today I have begotten you." God is very efficient in what he does. He also says in another place, "You are a priest continually," long duration, olam, for here translated aeon, eon. You are a priest continually, according to the order of Melchizedek. This happened on the 8th day, on the morrow after the Sabbath. The firstborn son appeared. Notice. One God, dwelling alone in the reality of the shadow and copy, this square here, which is going to come down from heaven, this massive square, like 1,400 miles up, across, width, height, depth. Notice now, it's all over. Let me get rid of this. Pictures again are all over the place. Well, now notice who appears next. Son of God. What's dwelling in him? The fullness of the only God. Colossians 2:9. The fullness of the divinity dwelling in him. The Spirit of Christ, the firstborn Son from the dead. Colossians 1:15. God is beginning to what? Reproduce. He's beginning to expand into a family. One God, now appears before the only God, Hebrews 8:24, the Son of God, Melchizedek. Today I have begotten you. Raised a spirit being, a new creation, the firstborn over all creation. Having the fullness of God dwelling in him. The only God. This is the destiny of mankind, to have God all in all. Boy, these teachings from the tabernacle are just mind-blowing. Whoop. Okay. Let's get a witness here from Stephen in Acts chapter 7. He actually saw this. This disproves that Jesus was the God of the Old Testament, like I used to believe when I was in the Worldwide Church of God. There's only one God in the tabernacle, the shadow and copy of the true. Once again. Then Aaron appears, shadow and copy of the true Melchizedek, Son of God. He appears. He's not in here before. He doesn't exist. He doesn't pre-exist. Can you see that? This can't be Jesus, the God of the Old Testament, as Herbert Armstrong and his splinter groups believe. Does Jesus, Yeshua, appear before himself? Get it? It's false. Notice what Stephen witnesses. Oh, here's concerning the temple. However, the Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands, as the prophet says, "Heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool. What is the house you will build for me, says Yahweh? Or what is the place of my rest? Has not my hand made all these things?" Isaiah 66, 1 and 2. Now notice what he says. When he rebukes the religious leaders, "You stiff-necked, uncircumcised in heart, rejecting the Holy Spirit. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed at him with their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, gazed into heaven and saw the glory of God." Glory of God, the only God, and Jesus, Yeshua, Melchizedek, standing at the right hand of God. And he said, "Look, I see the heavens opened, and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of" who? Of God. What did he see? I put this picture in because he's at his right. Here's the Shekinah glory. Who's at his right hand? Son of God, the Son of Man. Get it? I see heaven open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of the throne of God. Shadow and copy of the heavenly things. See how beautiful it all works? Where's the Holy Spirit at, by the way? I'm probably going to do the next video on the Holy Spirit. I'm going to end up showing this anyways. We can add, well, I mean, I'm saying proof the Trinity doesn't exist. Where's the Holy Spirit in this? If all three are co-equal beings, separate from each other, but co-equal. It's false doctrine. It's from Babylon. Okay? What? Oh, if I left out Revelation 11:19, just to throw this in. Then the temple of who? Temple of God was opened in heaven. Okay, the reality on earth, the shadow and copy of God was opened in heaven, and the ark of his covenant was seen in his temple. And there were lightnings, noises, thunderings, an earthquake, and a great hail. The temple of God was opened, and the tabernacle of his testimony can be seen. Again, this represents the Holy Spirit in the human mind. Okay, also. It's the Spirit of God, not a separate being, that the Messiah brings with him. Spirit of Christ brings with him. I covered this in several videos. Okay. Temple of God was opened. All right. The Ark of his covenant was seen. Whoop. Get it? One God on the throne. Son of Man at his right hand. Get it? Fits like a glove, doesn't it? Old covenant conceals, the new covenant reveals. The old covenant is simply a shadow of the new. Shadow. For the law, having a shadow of the good things to come, and not the very image of these things. They were shadows and copies. Okay. Once again, Romans 8:9. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. Now, if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he is not his. Two beings now. Spirit of God, Spirit of Christ. Coming in and dwelling in the human mind, the inner man, the cardia, the temple of God. Do you not know that you are the temple of God? God is very efficient in what he does concerning these shadows and copy. You're dealing with a super duper genius. Hebrews 1:8. Hebrews 1. God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in times past to the fathers by the prophets. One God. Has in these last days spoken to us by his Son. No God of the Old Testament was Jesus. We can kill that one. Okay? And if you want to toss in through whom he made the worlds, on account of, dia. I have no problem with that. Through whom he also made the worlds. If he's not in his mind, whom he foreknew in his mind, like he foreknew Jeremiah, none of this comes into existence. All things were created for him and through him, on account of him. Because through him, we're all going to be saved. One God, then who comes after the one, the Son of God, the firstborn? Who appears on the morrow after the Sabbath, on the 8th day of Pentecost, who die, were raised into the heavenlies, and are given the garments, who are begotten or born from above by who? Once again, Moses playing the only God, bringing forth the sons of God. Okay? God is an expanding, he has a family. Okay? He's putting himself, reproducing himself, basically. It all started with One God. Okay, so the tabernacle, shadow and copy of the heavenly things, and especially this little square area, the holiest of all, which is a shadow of the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. Yeah, why don't we finish it off here? Revelation. It's going to be a short video, 30 minutes. 31. 8. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Oops. What's coming down here? Also there was no more sea. That's the camp. That's the earth, all the nations grafted in. No more sea. They're going to all of God's children are going to be around him. Then I, John, saw the holy city, that square building, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God. Get it? See how the Torah is a tutor? It's a teacher. Is with men. Tabernacle of God. And of course, the Ancient of Days here should have white garments. Is with men. First of the first fruits, the barley, the wheat, and on the 8th day, after the millennium, all the sons of the rest, the grape harvest, will be born on the 8th day. They will shed their flesh and their fleshly garments. They also will put on godhood garments, that God may be all in all. Excuse me. The tabernacle of God is with men. He will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God. God himself, not themselves. Okay. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and God will, only God. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Then he who sat on the throne, I see heaven opened, and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God. See how it all fits together? Behold, I make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. Okay. And he said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I'm going to address this. I will give the fountain of water of life freely to him who thirsts. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God. Not we will be his gods. I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Picture the Ancient of Days with the white hair and the white garments. Get it? Okay. All right. 35 minutes, short video. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.